Hey there, I'm Mark and I'm thrilled to have you here with me. Our goal at bike.rent Manager is to make your rental operations sleeker, more efficient, and ultimately more profitable. We'll guide you through our software to help you maximize the value you get from bike.rent Manager. Join over 800 teams worldwide, from dynamic global brands to nimble local enterprises who trust in bike.rent Manager. In this video, I'm going to go over customizing the data that you gather from your customers both online and in the back office when you're making a reservation on their behalf. So the first thing we'll do is go to our settings and go to search here at the top, and we'll just begin to type in customer data. Click that. And this is where you're going to make these modifications. So you have three different options here. Online, this is what the customer sees. This is your online booking page. Kiosk, which would be what you're using in the store if you're using iPads or any other type of tablet to gather customer data for walk-in registrations. And then your back office, which would be this, which is you making reservations in create mode in response to walk-ins, phone calls, things like that. So you have options with all of these. So what you're going to do is you'll notice here I've got first name, last name, email, and some of these I've got as mandatory. These are my online mandatory options here for my customers. So this is what the customer is going to see online per rider. So what I've got is a couple different ways to do this. So you've got per item, per rental, and then you've got both. So you can, per rental would just be at the bottom when the customer is making the registration. They only have to put that information in one time. Per item would be, say you want to gather a name, email address, and phone number for each rider or each person in the booking that's riding a bike or snowboard or whatever it might be. You can do that. So we'll go ahead and do one so you can kind of see what it looks like here. So we'll add a new one, and you can really customize this stuff. So maybe we want to gather, at the moment, if you look online, I'm just gathering per rider here, first name, last name, and email address. So maybe I want to add height in there so that I know what size bike to give them. So we can call this rider height. And the scope, that is going to be what we just talked about there, the per rental, per item, or both. I'm going to go per item because I want to get rider height for each individual. Of course, that's also going to gather the height for the initial booker, the person who's making the booking. So now you've got your options here. Do you want to make it online or online mandatory? So we're going to make that online mandatory. You can make it available to be seen on the kiosk or mandatory on the kiosk. So I can go kiosk. Back end, it's up to you whether you want to make stuff mandatory in the back end. So what that does is it makes it so that you and your employees are required to enter a certain amount of information before you can advance a booking to the next stage. So you may just want to make stuff voluntary in the back office. Some things you might want to make mandatory. If you'd like your employees to make sure they gather a phone number for every rider, you can do that if you'd like. Just make sure that if you do that, you've chosen the correct scope here. So we go ahead and hit save. That's going to save that automatically. So I'm going to go refresh online, and we're going to take a look at what that looks like here in this item. So we'll go grab a bike. And now we've got rider height here as well. So we're requiring rider height. So if I try to skip through this and hit that checkout button, it's going to ask me that tell me that these are required and that I have to fill them out before I can move on. Of course, you could make them voluntary. Perhaps you don't want to have email be a mandatory thing per rider. Another thing is if you do happen to choose, if a customer does choose, say, 2 bikes, this little "This is me" button is going to pop up here. And that allows you to gather the information from the initial booker. You're going to know who that was making the booking, and then the next rider and the next rider, and so on and so on. So that's really the basics of gathering customer data there. You can also use it, again, in the back office when you're making a booking so that there's a certain amount of data. So if we go to reservations and we go to create here, when I go to, say, add a customer, I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll search for an existing customer here. Maybe it'll be Smith. Search for Smith. No Smith's in there. We'll just go ahead and add one. So we'll add a new customer. And I've made that mandatory there. Oops. There we go. And so on and so on. Save it. Any other mandatory stuff, it's going to let you know there. It'll pop up in red and let you know that you haven't done it yet. So we'll go ahead and save that and close it. And then there's Mark Smith with all that information. And then, of course, you can just move through the booking there. You can go ahead and choose your bike or bikes and then create your reservation there. And there we go. Thanks so much and happy renting.